I've got three 22s up, and they all have approximately the same weight. They're all right around 2,450 grams. They have the same pressed bell that has been hammered the exact same way, and they actually even have the same amount of taper towards the edge, so how much it thins near the edge. So I really was trying with these three cymbals to isolate the profile shape. And these cymbals are not finished. These are very much in process, but I kind of stopped them 3/4 of the way through to illustrate this point, because they really, really sound different, even though so many elements of them are the same. So with the profile shaping of a cymbal, the thing I always want to make sure with all of my cymbals that they have is that they have a strong trajectory that goes up and into the bell. I don't ever want to see my cymbals dip below before it hits the transition into the bell. That'll just cause a mushy sound. It'll cause kind of a muddy, ill-defined thing, and it will most likely have honks and hums and kind of weird overtones that aren't pleasant to play. That's a general rule. There are I've played some cymbals. I've played some spizzes and some old Ks that had dips and kind of dives before they hit the bell, and they sounded great. But in general, I really want a strong trajectory up until my bell. So I always start, like this cymbal on the left, this is the lowest shaped cymbal. It still has a trajectory to the bell. It doesn't dip anywhere, but it's low. It's kind of flatter. With each cymbal, as it goes down the line here, it gets bigger and bigger, the profile. What I'm doing is I'm basically taking the portion from the edge of the cymbal, or the middle of the cymbal, out to the edge, and I'm just kind of building it up a little bit. So I'm kind of coming into my stick more like this rather than flat like it is on the far left one. So I'm building it up, building it up. This building increases the overall height, but I still have movement all the way up into my bell. It doesn't sink or flatten or dip before it hits the bell. That's a hugely important thing to note, and I'll talk more about that later in the video. But for now, these three cymbals are just 3 stages of profile height in the same cymbal, basically. I'll play it with 2 different sticks, and you guys can let me know what you think. All right, so as you can hear, wildly different sounds coming from basically the same cymbal. The only thing different being that shape. So over here on the left, I have a low shape, and like I said, my stick is coming into much more of a flat curvature rather than a built-up curvature or a curved thing like this. So I'm getting much more of a cushiony feel, and The only thing that's the saving grace on this left cymbal is that it's got the weight that it has, 2,450 grams. That's really where the stick definition is coming from. Because if this was much thinner, it would basically be a big crash. And when I hit the stick, when I hit the cymbal with the stick on the bow, it really would sound pretty mushy and ill-defined, and the wash would overtake the stick really quick. With these cymbals over here on the right, they really can, they could be thinner and still maintain stick clarity. And that's the whole thing of building that profile shape up taller, can give you the ability to have a thinner cymbal that still maintains definition. So I really love the one on the far right, even though it's not finished. This one is pretty much like in a medium tall place, and this is really where I like my cymbals to be. I like some of my cymbals to be in this realm. I don't hardly ever make cymbals that are here. The only time that I'll do that really is when I'm making a rock and roll ride, and it's a ride that needs to cut and be super clear on the stick, but still crash and have a low pitch that's not super abrasive to the ear. I'll make a low shape like this, but in a 22-inch size, I'll make it 2,800 grams, maybe even 3,000, 3,200 grams, and you'll have a great rock and roll ride. It'll have a low fundamental, but the clarity will be there because of the weight.